There are times when a proofreader or quality check for design is needed, and you have to measure the elements of a page, like we used to do with a physical pica ruler. You can do this in Acrobat Reader, which is the free version, just by going to Tools and accessing the measurement tools. This opens the tools across the top, a new toolbar for measurements. And if you click the measuring tool, it pops up with different types of measures and some information about the line that you are drawing. Now, to get at the picas and points, I want to right-click on the document after I've selected the measuring tool, and we see this whole new menu pop up. I'll select Change Scale Ratio, and here is where I can select what unit it's going to measure in and what it's going to display. The part on the right is what it's going to display, and right now I'm telling it we have 12 points per 1 pica. Click OK, and we'll see how this works. It's really finicky. So I'll click once to start the mark, click again to stop the mark, and then click a third time to place the label. Now we can see that that's a little crooked. I'm going to select this mark, delete it, and try again. So my measurement tool is still selected. I'm going to click once. Then I'm going to hold down the Shift key while I click a second time. And then I'll click the third time to place the label. So this is overwritten here. Let me just do a marquee zoom to zoom in on that. You can see that it's overwritten the label on top of the text. It's a little hard to read. I'll go zoom back out here. Once you've placed that, I'll click on the hand tool. I can click on the little dot, the grab point at the point of the arrow, and drag the label where it's easier to read. You can also, once clicking on that, use your arrow keys on the keyboard to move the mark up and down to get it precisely placed. All right, just for sake of it, I'm going to move this back. So I'm going to click there, over here, and now I'm going to change the measurement units we're using. I would like to measure this in points instead of in picas. So the measurement tool needs to be selected to do this. Right-click to get that menu, go back to Change Scale. If you don't see this menu, you see something slightly different, just make sure no objects are selected and that you've clicked the measuring tool on the top. Now I'm going to swap these. I'm going to do 1 point equals 12, 1 pica equals 12 points. Now I'm going to get labels in points. I'll click OK. Oh, I want to point out here too the precision. This can get really precise, which is not normally how we measure things in design, especially in book design. So I'm going to keep it low. I've found it actually works better with a 1 point precision than it does with no decimal points. It was spitting out weird data. So keeping these settings, click OK. We'll try this again. Click once to start the mark, hold down Shift, click a second time to finish it, and a third time to place the label. When we're doing this with paper and a ruler, we don't have as much precision as we can get on screen. And that means that on screen we can get weird measurements like 19.9 points, when all I really want to say is 20 points. You can finagle this, finesse your marks by trying to pull this point to get it exactly right. Remember to hold down Shift to keep it exactly horizontal or exactly vertical. But as you can see, a tiny little movement that makes a huge change in the measurement. And changing the position at this moment was not dropping my decimal mark. So there's 2 ways to do measurements in points and picas on your page. And if we want to go back, let me go back out again, to measure, say, this 7-inch distance, we simply make sure we have the measuring tool selected, right-click to change the scale ratio, and then we can change it from any measure, say 1 inch equals 1 inch, make it easy. And then when we are measuring our items, we get labels in inches. I'll put the label down here so you can see it. For more tips on using Adobe Acrobat, especially this free reader program for markup of page proofs and other production flow, see the other tips on this blog.